Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Sorry it's been a little bit. You know the deal. You read the title, you saw the thumbnail, let's get right into it. We are taking a look at the Herbs and Stones liquid foam today, and it is an analog groove box with a very acidic nature. And I've said that before, and I'll probably say it again. I've described a synth as acidy, acidic, and it begs the question of what does acid sound like? Is it the 303 with its square waves and saw waves and fixed timing slides and its filters, or is it like a 101 type sound? Is it just distorted bass lines with really resonant filters? Is it some sort of combination of those elements? Well, to be honest, I don't have a nerdy answer for you, but I do have some thoughts on the liquid foam that I think will lead us to a better understanding of what rock and cool fun acid sounds are made of and how to get some out of this little box. So let's sink our teeth in. So I think the best way to understand the liquid foam is if we break down the panel into its little parts and talk about each one of them just briefly. So the liquid foam does things a little bit differently. It's not like other synths. Everything on the panel runs on gates. And I know that might be a little weird when we start talking about the sequencers here, but it works pretty great. It's all gates. Oops, all gates. We're gating around. All of the voltages coming out of here are 5-volt gates, and different combinations of gates and different patterns of how you go from one gate to another will really influence how the device generates patterns and sounds. So, with that being said, the key way to generate great, cool, fun gates is with the two sequencers they've provided. You've got sequencer 1 here on the left and sequencer 2 here on the right. So both sequencers are linked to the clock, but in slightly different ways. So you've got sequencer 1 right here, which has got a direct link to the clock. The speed of the clock is going to send this going around in a counterclockwise fashion, right? Easy peasy. X and Y here are going to change the behavior of the rotation. So they're going to send it going in the other direction, if you will. If we go like this, you'll notice that every time it gets to that gate, it turns around. If we do something like this, you start to get even more sporadic patterns, right? So that's how you can generate instantly kooky, weird, cool gates. And because these are all banana plugs, it makes stacking them super duper easy right away, right? Cool, fun, easy peasy, functional. Sequencer 2 is also linked to the clock, but every time sequencer 2 gets a clock pulse, it kind of pulls this LFO right here, which is a rectangle LFO. So you get rate and the width of the pulse width there, the rectangle. And depending on the position of the LFO, it either allows some gates through or all gates through in a counterclockwise fashion, right? So this will kind of give you very sort of sporadic and bizarre patterns because the LFO is completely unlinked from the clock. So sometimes you can get more sporadic changes in your gate patterns, but they're still linked to the clock. The way these sequencers generate patterns is by patching into A, B, and C here. These are gate inputs, and different combinations of gate high will yield different notes and lengths. We can demonstrate this by just using sequencer 1 here to generate a quick little deal there, right? And so this is a perfect time to talk about the envelope generator, right? So the envelope generator is decay only. That's all you got is decay. But there's a couple extra tricks you've got here. You've got this envelope generator inverse, and this is a little misleading because this offset controls how much of this is applied to the filter, and what it really does is inverse the shape of the envelope, so it gives it a little bit more attack. So we can let's just take a listen to it in action here. So I'm going to plug this into C, and I'm going to plug this into inverse, and you're going to notice that the offset is going to give us kind of more like an accent. I usually use this as sort of like an accent, so let's take a listen here. And that's, you know, so we already got a straight little pattern here, right? And then the last function of the envelope generator here is the envelope generator to VCO. So what this does is it cuts off all of the A, B, and C voltage inputs and sends the envelope straight to the VCO. So this is good for kind of like ducking things out for like kick drums, or, you know, creating sort of a kick drum sound, or sort of generating a slide if you can get a long enough gate in there. It's interesting to play around with. It yields different results. And then let's just spice this up a little bit here and use this last one in sequencer A to make and then we could even use one more here. You see how that instantly changed the melody? We could take it out. Drive this up a little bit. Okay, so let's take a step back here. Blah, 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 blah. We just got a fun little patch there going, just using one sequencer and playing around with the envelope generator. Now let's take a brief look at how the oscillator section works here. So I'm just gonna get a quick little sequence going that's just very straightforward, just like the last one. And we're gonna talk about this real fast here. So the liquid foam has two wave mixing stages. The first one's on this first knob right here, and it controls from triangle to saw wave, right? Easy peasy. Now this second one down here goes from whatever is present at this stage to a sort of rectangle wave with pulse width here. You hear that? And you can kind of get a nice little combination of an in-between wave there, you hear? Which is pretty nice. And then we've got a filter here that is very kind of messy and dirty. I like it. And then finally, we've just got this drive section right up here, right? Which really gets hot. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, so that's pretty much the front panel here, right? We've got the two sequencers, the envelope generator, our oscillator, our filter, and our LFO. Just a kind of a small collection of really nice utilities that are laid out in a very flexible and cross-patchable way that equals some really fun acid sounds. Now, up until this point, all I've been using is the first sequencer over here. And now we're gonna start to pop in the second sequencer. And you're gonna start to notice that the sequences that are generated go from very straightforward to absolutely crazy bonkos very quickly. And I love it. I love it so very much. So let's kind of just take a look at some cool sounds and sequences we can get out of this thing, and let's add a little drum beat here and let's go to town. So let's get going with a little pattern here, and we're gonna bring in this second sequencer and start to get a little bit of you know, quirky, what does the manual call it, Byzantine sequencing here, right? So just one patch point, that's all it took. And now it's bouncing. Let's get a little drum beat in here. And then let's go maybe one of these guys also into this. Right? Sounded pretty good right there. Okay, so I need this longer cable. Alright, so that's a cool little pattern here. Let's speed it up a little bit. Alright, now you hear this variation that's going to keep on going here? It's coming from the differences that we're getting from sequencer B, and we can change the width and instantly start to get new things. Let's play some drum beat here. You know, and then like we can start to just instantly generate things here now, like variations and stuff. You hear that? Just instantly. Change the controls just a little bit. Brand new groove. Instantly bubbly. Delicious. There it is. Change our sound a little bit. You know, and then we'll just change this up just a little touch. So yeah, I hope that helped kind of illustrate how you can just go on this thing. It doesn't really need like a lot of complex programming. You can kind of just feel it out, try new pathways, and experiment with different combinations of gates and see what they yield. You know what I mean? There's no stopping. As long as you've got something going into these inputs here, you're good to go. If you go all the way left on the oscillator here, you can kind of mute it and then just hear this, which is kind of fun for like percussive stuff, right? All right, so let's do one little drum beat here to kind of wrap everything up and go over everything that we just went over, right? So we're going to start with a gate from sequencer A. There's our tone, right? Okay, and then we're going to start to generate a little bit of random behavior with sequencer B going into the Y. It seems like this one looks like it's a little bit more active there, right? Now let's get another thing in there, another little note. And then I like to take maybe one from sequencer B, right? So we've got a little acid pattern going, right? Let's change it up a little bit more. Let's go into this accent here. Alright, now let's change our sound a little bit, right? We've got a full saw wave over here and a full triangle wave over there, right? And then we can mix in a little bit of this rectangle wave here, right? And then let's bring a little bit of that saw wave back in there right here. Bring the drive up a little bit. Right, okay, sounding good. Let's change the width and the rate, get some new patterns. Let's try some cross patching. We got a cool rhythm going there. Let's change it up. Let's change the rate of the LFO to generate a new related. Oop, that was too much. That's pretty good right there. And we haven't used this EG to VCO like nearly at all, so. Alright, that's a fun little acid line. Let's jazz it up just a little bit more, right? I want as many gates going in here as possible. All right, so here are a few more tricks for you just for your patching and exploration of the liquid foam. Notes are generated by stacking voltages. So it happens when you double up on a single gate, like so. Oh, excuse me. You hear that? So if you want to add more notes to your sequence, just kind of stack those gates on the inputs. And the LFO is great for creating trills. So that's one little tip. Another thing that I find incredibly interesting is sometimes when you patch into certain things doubly, it will kind of cross-modulate some of the behavior. So you will see things happen when you're stacking, see, like that, that are kind of interesting behavior. And I would encourage you to explore and try to find what kind of quirky behavior you can get this thing to generate. Because it's very rewarding when you get something cool. And this is the thing that I think is really beautiful about this device, is that you can endlessly just generate new things, and you can kind of reverse yourself in time just by unpatching them. But you never need to stop generating music or patterns. You can always just keep going, trying new things until you land on something that you like, and then tweak it and, you know, mold it into something wacky. Change the sound a little bit, you know, drive things up. Add a drum beat that sounds like crap. Make the drum beat sound better. Make the acid sound cooler. And that's the lesson for today, you guys. I hope you had fun learning about this cool little acid synth here. And I hope you go home and make some acid, you know, do some acid, do whatever you want. I'm not the boss of you, but if you were thinking about picking up the liquid phone, it's on sale, you know, at Perfect Circuit, like right now. So links are in the description, all that jazz. And yeah, I would encourage y'all to enjoy this and have fun. Like most things that I get really excited about, this is available as a DIY kit. It's available as a pre-built unit, as you see before you, and it's also available as a Eurorack module, so there's no excuse not to give this guy a whirl. I really like the documentation for the DIY build. It's very thorough, so you can pretty much build this thing anywhere in the world out of whatever parts you want. You can make your own enclosure, you could change out the jacks. Yeah, it's just really cool. This company, Herbs and Stones, it's small, I think it's just a few dudes in Italy, I believe, and they make a lot of really cool stuff that is really interesting and quirky and feels super organic, and uses these banana cables and has a lot of cross-modulatable patching and weirdness that happens when you're actually interacting with the device that I can't describe well enough to really come across in a video. But the fact of the matter is that this synth, even just by touching it, moving things around, you can get interesting sounds. You can tune into the radio with the filter at high drive if you're not careful with your power supplies there. I've gotten Weird Talk Radio come in on this thing. It is a really fun little groove synth. I think it would be an amazing partner for any sort of other banana-based system like Buchla or Chiat Lombard or anything like that. A Surge system would absolutely love this. Could you imagine some beautiful liquid Surge drums with 303 kookiness like this happening? I could. I think it would be awesome. I want to see it. So that's all for today. I hope you guys had fun. If you made it this far in the video, you could hit the like button or the subscribe button. It'd be really cool, and it would appreciate it. I would appreciate it, you know? It'd be fun. You can always come to the Discord where we're sharing weird kooky stuff, and that is the end of the video.